All right, guys, we're talking the 107 tonight. As always, let's get started by going over a couple trades to get a baseline. Are you going in a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR, the 107 or Derek Carr?
Pick.
I don't understand the question and I refuse to answer it. Of course, the pick.
How about the 107 or Ramondre Stevenson and the 203?
No.
The draft selection, sir.
I'm taking the 107. Look, I just sat through a month of everybody telling me that the 23 class sucked. And now everybody's all high and jerking it off after the combine. They're not getting it from me for Ramondre Stevenson and a second-round pick that's never going to amount to anything. Nope.
Okay, moving over to a 1 QB, are you going to take the 107 or DJ Moore?
I'll go DJ Moore.
Yeah, taking the 4 quarterbacks out of the mix definitely changes things up. So I'm probably going to go D'Jarius Moore there, as boring as that is.
Wouldn't be 106, but 107?
Yeah, I mean, Shane mentioned the 4 quarterbacks. You add the 4 quarterbacks in, you're talking late first. I don't think there's anything wrong with trading a late first for a wide receiver, knowing you're probably going to have a list of wide receivers that will be available to you there. You may or may not like them, but I think the point is I'm not going to hate anybody if they're like, hey, I'm getting out of this 112 or 111 in Superflex or 107, 108 in single QB for something that I like. Now, the only argument against that is the pick liquidity that carries a little more weight as a trade asset, because once you have DJ Moore, it's DJ Moore. If this person that wants to trade with you doesn't like him, that's not worth the 107 or 108 anymore. So that's the only argument of not trading your picks for players. But if you have, 5-6 leagues and you have a couple late picks, I don't hate making that type of move.
Staying in a 1 QB, are you going the 107 or J.K. Dobbins?
107.
Same argument as DJ Moore. It depends on what your need is. I do think this running back class is good, but it's good when you get to the range of I don't really care about wasting this pick on a running back versus, man, I'm taking a running back 3 over a first-round wide receiver, and the running back 3 might go in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. So if you're saying I hope I get a running back, maybe Dobbins is the best one you can buy with that pick. So I'm okay with it again, but I'd prefer probably the liquidity of the pick.
All right, so let's bring in the board here. Scott, at the 106 show, you took Quentin Johnston at the 106. Would you like to switch that pick, my friend? Is there a different wide receiver name you want to put in there now?
Yes, I would like to take that pick over. I wish I could do this in real rookie drafts too, maybe after 6 months or a year. But yeah, I would like to repick, and I think it's pretty clear that if the wide receiver 1 has not gone off the board, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba at the 106. And I don't think after this weekend it's that close, not because of necessarily what happened at the combine. It's just it feels like the market swell for him is so great that there really isn't going to be a chance for anyone else to be the wide receiver 1 unless there's just a complete drop in the NFL draft. If he goes in the 2nd round and somebody else goes in the top 15, okay, we reassess it. But if they're all drafted in the 1st, it just feels like it's a train that's not going to get stopped.
Well, let's do this then. Let's clean up this board since this is the first show since the NFL Combine. Let's clean this up. So you had Bijan Robinson at 101, CJ Stroud at 102, Bryce Young at 103, Anthony Richardson at 104, Jahmyr Gibbs at 105, and Quentin Johnston at 106.
I'm looking at, let's see, would it be to my right, to my left, straight ahead at Shane? I think you just move Anthony Richardson up from 104 to 102, and then you just keep the draft the same from there. You bump Stroud to 103, Bryce to 104, Gibbs to 105, and JSN at the new 106. But I think that's the only debate. You can maybe debate Richardson versus Stroud, but I think that's it. I think you're moving Richardson clearly ahead of Bryce Young. And I think even Shane agrees, as much as he wanted to battle with me during that 103 about who we should be taking. Times change, my friend. I think we're moving Richardson up to the 103. He's ahead of Bryce Young, and I don't think there's a debate.
All right, so Shane, we'll take this opportunity to clean up your side of the board too. You went Bijan Robinson, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jordan Addison. Would you two like to change your picks?
I only pick I want to change is I'm going to swap out Jordan Addison for JSN. Jordan Addison's shorter and skinnier than I thought he was. He did not have what we like to call a good combine. JSN, like all of our listeners told us, congrats guys, apparently is the best wide receiver that's ever existed in the sphere of fantasy football. But I'm still, look, Richardson's going to be, it really is going to be team dependent, right? There's some leagues where I'm going to be like, all right, I'm just going all out and I'll take Richardson at 103. But I got a feeling that there's a lot of leagues I'm just going to wuss out and default back to Bryce Young, because as great as Anthony Richardson looked at the combine, still a 55% completion percentage in college, still didn't win the job outright until his second year, Scott? Third year. I'm sorry. It took him 3 years. A really smart guy, though. Really smart, according to all the testing. I said this earlier on one of our roster reviews. He's Dr. Hulk. Got the build and the brains. But I'm still probably going to lean Bryce Young. But look, I can't be mad at you now for wanting to go Richardson, because the upside is very tantalizing.
So let's talk about the 107 here. So are we looking at a big time tier break right now? Because we said JSN was the clear wide receiver one. So 107, Scott, you are on the clock. Who are you taking?
Well, this is a tier break. This is a spot where, in fact, yesterday at about 7 o'clock in the evening, I was done watching the combine, and this is going to come out a couple days after this. But I went and just proposed all of my 107s and 108s to try to get up to that 106. Now, this is completely off the cuff. How cheap can I do it? Just testing everybody else to see, okay, what is their tier? Some people might see a tier of 5. Some people might see a tier of 7 or 8, and they don't care, right? They might take the deal. Didn't get one accepted. I probably sent a good 15 offers. All of them rejected, or half of them probably haven't been responded to at this point. But I'm just banking that there's going to be a clear tier break at 6. I do think if I'm making a pick at 107 and I'm forced to pick, and I can't trade back 4 spots and pick up 2 picks, or I can't trade back 3 spots and pick up a second, or something like that, Will Levis is the pick at 107. But that also comes with the caveat of, we've talked about Will Levis before, 98% of people do not like him. He's also, there's a couple landmine landing spots where people definitely won't like him. If he goes to the Raiders and he's with Josh McDaniels on a franchise that probably doesn't have a chance to win their division, that's also a negative. So I think he's one of those where you just have to be very, very careful when you draft him. It's got to be on the right teams in the right league. If it's an inactive league, a league where everyone's really tight with their assets, you are not drafting somebody where you go, man, all he needs is one good game and I'm going to be able to flip him for 2 firsts. That's why he's not in the tier with the other 3 quarterbacks, despite the NFL basically saying all of them are going to go really high, most likely top 10, if not top 7, top 6. But he's not in that tier, and it's not because he doesn't have the skill set to be good for fantasy. I think he does. I mean, look, his combine numbers were good. He's athletic. He's big and athletic. Like, he has fantasy upside, but I don't think I draft him. I just envision a world where he's ready to start day one. He played 30 games in the SEC in 2 pro-style offenses. Now, he might not be good, but you can't say he needs to sit for a year. He's probably a guy you can play right away. What does he have to do as a rookie for the community to go, this guy's legit? Like, if he has Kenny Pickett's rookie year, people are going to go, dude, this guy's terrible, right? And it's going to be more so than Kenny Pickett because they like him less than Kenny Pickett when he came in. So it just feels like it's an asset you're begrudgingly drafting, but it also feels like, okay, it's a quarterback. The quarterback landscape, if anybody is following, is a mess. All the quarterbacks outside of the top 9, 10, 11, all feel like they're kind of just there together. Some have some security, some have a contract, some have maybe a good situation, but not the security. So there's like, they're all over the place. So it feels like if I just get one of those, it's an asset that I can just build my asset chest with. Maybe if I draft Will Levis, I can now trade my Jared Goff, right? Because I've replaced that on my roster. I'd rather have Jared Goff probably if I'm trying to get points right this second, but I'd rather trade or draft Will Levis because he's a rookie. So I think it just allows you to fill that spot on your roster. I know Shane's squinting at me like I'd rather have Jared Goff. What I mean, I'd rather have Jared Goff for the production, not the asset value. Yep. So I think you just take Will Levis at 107 and just roll with it. Maybe he is the next Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones.
I'm old enough to remember when we were all fading Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and I'm not going to put Daniel Jones in that category. He doesn't belong in that category. But yeah, like we definitely faded them. But look, there's been other quarterbacks we faded, and it ended up being all right. But you don't remember them as well because, well, you don't remember the losers. You know, it's just kind of how it goes. But I don't particularly like Will Levis. I think I've made that known, but it really doesn't matter what I don't own an NFL franchise, so I don't get a say in the matter. So he's going to be a top 5 pick, even if it is to the Raiders. I mean, I could see a worse coaching situation than being tied to Josh McDaniels, who might have some issues, but I don't think coaching offenses is one of them. He's a pretty good quarterback whisperer, at least if we understand that whole Tom Brady era. And then even Mac Jones was much better with McDaniels as opposed to Matt Patricia, which I guess isn't saying a lot, but I guess I can't see passing on Will Levis there at 107. Like if he's on the board, you have to, because that's the one with the most upside. Who has the higher ceiling, him or Zay Flowers? Him or Zach Charbonnet? You know, like, and I could like both those players. It's just unless Zach Charbonnet comes out and has a Breece Hall type season, he's not going to ascend to those values. And Will Levis is the one guy that can do that.
All right, so we're going to flip over to the 1QB board. But in the meantime, would you please look down, hit that little thumbs up if you're enjoying this content. Give us a like. We'd appreciate that. Easiest way to help out the channel. So let's start off with a fresh board over on the 1QB side too. 101, you guys are going Bijan Robinson, I take it. 102, who are we going? We going Jahmyr Gibbs?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. 103, are we going JSN?
Yes, sir.
104, who are you going?
I'll still go Quentin Johnston. I think he gets the highest draft capital, and he's different than everybody else because he's actually bigger than me. So I'll go Quentin Johnston.
He's bigger than you. Yeah, that is a rarity in this class. They're all little tiny fellas. Sorry.
Who are you going on 104, Shane?
Zach Charbonnet.
Okay.
It's going to get day 2 draft capital. If he doesn't, then I'm moving off of this Charbonnet pick. And we'll just redo this again in a month.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. 105, Scott, who are you going?
105, I'm not taking a running back yet. I'm just going to still stick with the draft capital. I think I'll go Jordan Addison here, but this is where it starts to get, man, is there a veteran receiver that I can get instead? But I'll go Jordan Addison still at wide receiver 3.
Shane?
Jordan Addison at wide receiver 2 for me.
Scott, back to you at 106.
Got to go wide receiver 4, which is going to be Zay Flowers. Probably still going to get top 25 draft capital. Might go ahead of a couple of the guys we've already picked, but wide receiver 4, Zay Flowers.
Mr. Manila?
I'm also going Zay Flowers. I am holding off the Quentin Johnston pick as long as I possibly can.
So now we're at 107, guys. We taking a running back now? Who are you going?
Well, Shane's going Quentin Johnston because in his dream world, he's fallen to the 107. I still am not going to take the running back 3 only because I don't want to take you say day 2, but I think day 2 could be the RB3 goes off the board at like the mid 3rd round, and that's the RB3 in the class, unfortunately.
It's day 2 draft capital. Look, that's the correct terminology, sir.
It is until you're passing up first round receivers at the same time. I do think Jalen Hyatt goes in the first round.
So you'll take Jalen Hyatt.
I will take Jalen Hyatt at the 107 because I think he's going to get draft capital. Whether people like his profile or not, I think he's going first round. So I will take Jalen Hyatt.
I don't have a choice. I have to take Quentin Johnston here. I don't have any choice at all. He's going to get good draft capital. Whatever. Yeah, I'm drafting him and just hoping that he's not Kevin White / Brashard Perryman redux.
It's interesting that Shane took Zach Charbonnet so high because I would have taken Zach Charbonnet before the combine, well before where the board is right now, which is going to be the 108 pick soon. Wasn't big, 215, not what we thought, and ran a 4.54 40. Like, he's just not special. You put him next to the profile Brian Robinson, and they're the same guy. And you're going, yeah, Brian Robinson was bigger, faster, and weighed more. And I'm not saying Brian Robinson's better, but you look at the profile, Charbonnet is just a tick below the Joe Mixon, the Zeke. Like, he's not in that tier. That's kind of what we were hoping, which that profile typically is going to go like in the late 2nd round. He's just not. He's just not a 2nd round dynasty or 2nd round NFL caliber pick, which I just can't take in this.
Well, let's see. I mean, I got a feeling he gets day 2 draft capital.
There you go. Let's do some trades with the 107.
Now, Chase Brown. You know what, Chase Brown? He had a really good combine. Tajay Spears.
A-Chain.
Devin A-Chain. I love Devin A-Chain.
I think Spears and A-Chain are the RB3 and 4 off the board, but is anybody going to pick them in the mid first?
I got to be honest with you. If A-Chain gets better draft capital than Zach Charbonnet, I'm by far taking A-Chain. He's going to be a fun weapon on a football field. I don't know if he's going to get more than 10 carries a game, but he's going to see like 8 targets a game.
He's like if Kenneth Gainwell and James Cook merge together.
Well, no, because both those players are not good.
Anyway,
let's do some more trades with the 107 here. Let's flip back to Superflex, and this will be a trade back. 107 or the 109 and 207.
We talking 10 starters?
Start 10.
I'm okay moving back 2 spots here because I think the picks are the fact that we've already picked different players and the fact that I think a couple of the receivers that will be next up here are ones people are not going to like. So yes, I'm fine moving back and doing that deal. It's a free 207 almost.
And this was Superflex again because I wasn't paying attention.
Yes.
Is Superflex? No, I'm not trading back. This is the last place I'm going to be able to get Will Levis. And God help me. But he's the last guy that I can foresee being by this time next year. Us going, all right, I can cash out on this dude, or he's just what the NFL thought he was.
107 or a mid 24 first.
All right. So that's another discussion we could have at a different time on like the idea of trading for future first. I will say the 107 because I started thinking this when I was sending out some of the trades for the 107. What if someone in my league messes up? Like, what if they they don't want to take Jahmyr Gibbs and they have to get a receiver instead, you know? Or what if they just don't want to take Bryce Young? The 107 is the one pick where you go, man, if there's just one inefficient pick, I'm sitting in the catbird seat and I traded it away for a random second to move back 2 spots. So I'll stick with the 107, but yeah, it's tight.
I'm already getting FOMO for next year. I'm already like, oh, well, next year's class is going to be better. I'd probably wind up kicking the pick. Also, because I don't have to make a decision. And if I can never have to make a decision, well, then life is good.
Let's talk trading up. Are you going to go the 107, the 108, or the 104?
104.
Oh, man. It's a hefty price to pay, but to get one of those 3 quarterbacks, I think it's worth it. Maybe you can even sneak back like a third or a late second or something like that. But yeah, got to bite the bullet and probably take the single high pick.
We'll tell you, we'll feel really silly when Will Levis is the quarterback 1 of the class and Zay Flowers is the wide receiver 1, and you could have just stayed put and had them both on your roster.
107 and DK Metcalf or the 103?
I mean, DK Metcalf and the 108, is there a massive difference? I think you're getting a spot higher here, so you get to pick your preference between your QB2. So I think you might even get the QB1 if someone goes JSN or Gibbs at 2. So I think I'm still taking the 103 there.
Probably still getting Stroud. So yeah, I'm good. 103.
So I did want to end this on just getting the pulse from both of you on some of the offers that I've been sending out. So I'm sending out the 107 for the 106. But I also send like a 203 or a 204, and I get back a 24 second. Which side do you take? So I send you the 204 and the 107 for the 106 and a 24 second. So you're essentially bumping a 24 second into the 204 and only giving up the 1 spot.
Give me the 106 side.
Pondering, Shane?
Yeah, I'm probably just going to stay put. Like, as much as I was joking about never having to make decisions, I don't want to kick my picks all the way down the road unless there's like a significant like win for me.
No, you're getting the 204.
I'm getting the 204 instead of a mid-second?
No, you're getting the 204 and you're giving me a 24 second. So you're moving back 1 spot from 6 to 7.
No.
But you're turning a 24 second into the 204.
No, I'll take the second. I'll take the 106.
What was that noise?